What's up, guys, people? I found myself in Ecclesiastes 7, verses 16 through 18. Listen to what it says. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself overwise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Pretty much this text is saying don't be overly righteous because the overly righteous a lot of times they tend to judge, they tend to be people who act like they never struggle. They tend to be they can't give you a real answer to anything. They just God is good all the time and God is they can't relate to you. It's like they almost lack humanity, the overly righteous and the wise. They usually, if you're overly wise, you become arrogant and things of that nature. So the text is telling you don't be overly righteous, don't be overly wise. And then it says, why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Because those things will destroy you. And then it says, be not over much wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? All right, it's telling you that's self-explanatory. You shouldn't be wicked and you shouldn't be foolish. And then it says, why should you die before your time? And I think it's Proverbs 10. Proverbs 10, it tells you the wicked, they die earlier at times. Being wicked can shorten your life, pretty much is what that text says. And then it says, it is good that thou shouldest take hold of this. Yea, also from this withdraw not thy hand, for he that feareth God shall come forth of them all. It's pretty much saying that those who fear God, they will take heed to these extremes. They won't be overly righteous. They won't be overly wise. They won't be overly wicked or overly foolish. I think it's important for us to be balanced. It makes me think of the movie. I just watched a movie a little bit ago called Avengers Infinity Wars. It's about these Marvel superheroes. And what does Thanos say? He says, perfectly balanced, as all things should be. As Christians, we should be perfectly balanced. We try our best to be at least perfectly balanced when it comes to our Christianity. And I think this text is important because it teaches you that you don't need to be overly righteous. I know it sounds crazy, but being overly righteous a lot of times makes it so you're not even relatable. People are struggling and going through things, and all you tell them is God is good instead of giving them some information or being relatable to people. And then being overly wise, being a know-it-all, it makes you arrogant. You think you know everything, and then be not over much wicked. Don't be evil. And then it says don't be foolish either. You should have some knowledge you should have some knowledge in your head and know some things. And then it says, why shouldest thou die before thy time? Yes, being wicked and being ignorant can shorten your lifespan. So I think this text is really good, and I think we should be balanced and well structured as Christians. That's what I got for you guys, people.